Yeah, what's up for a nightcap? Chill, kick back.
Welcome to the Nightcap. It's your girl, Carolina Sanchez. And this Pride Month, we decided we were going to do a Q&A with experts who know all about what it's like navigating the LGBTQ plus community, especially with their clients, because we're talking to therapists. If you missed part one, which was last night, go to our website and look at it. Take a look at that first part and then come back and watch this one. And if you've already seen part one, well, welcome. All right, you already know who's here. We've got Dr. Ty Lerman back, the clinical sexologist and sex therapist. Thanks for being here.
Always.
Next to you, we've got Devontae, the therapist, a licensed mental health counselor. Welcome, welcome. All right, we talked a lot yesterday, and we realized, baby, we could do a whole month of this. We should have done it from the beginning of the month, okay? But we're here now, so this is what we're operating with.
We'll do the best we can.
We're doing the best we can. All right, so we're going to talk about relationships here. How do LGBTQ plus couples navigate intimacy and communication differently than straight people? Or is it more similar than people assume?
I think once we're in relationships, it's not too different, but I do think getting into relationships is I think queer relationships sometimes do start with sex first, mostly because we're a little desensitized to it, simply because the coming out process is asking the question of what do we actually want, and it starts us talking about sex earlier than maybe our het partners or people do. So maybe that's a little bit different, is that we're a little bit easier to talk about sex.
The stigma's not there.
Maybe.
I think it's also, so I'm gonna give a little pushback simply because I think with heterosexual couples, I think that a lot of times it can also start off with being very sexual. Just think about when you're at a club, think about in the Instagram DMs when you get hit up.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, a lot of men are starting off wanting to have sex with a woman.
Mm-hmm.
So I think
fair. That's fair. I'll give you that.
all right.
But otherwise, it's the same.
As far as communication, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, a relationship is a relationship. It's just work.
Stay away from them. I'm just kidding.
Now I think when it comes to the dominance and one being submissive, it can be slightly different.
Say more.
So when it comes to the heterosexual relationships, primarily you tend to say that the man is more dominant than the woman, rather than when, let's just say, two gay men. Let's just start off with two gay men.
Mm-hmm.
You could stereotype and say that this one is going to be more, this one appears to be more submissive than the more masculine male.
Baby, the way I have messed up tops and bottoms time and time again, I stop. But I get asked, like, oh, do you think I'm a top or a bottom? I'm wrong every single time.
Because there's no way to tell. There's no way.
I figured that out now.
And please, where's my camera? Please don't ever ask a gay couple who's the man and who's the woman. It is the most insulting thing. They're both men. Both of them got, well, we assume if they are both cis men and we're in a gay relationship that they both have penises, they both have assholes. Neither are women. Don't ask that. It's rude.
Okay. Don't ask that. Yeah, or when they're gonna go get married, who's gonna be the bride? Like, bro,
Right. Yeah.
we're both gonna be in Texas, okay? Oh,
Or not.
or
Maybe
not.
we'll gender fuck this, and maybe some dude's gonna be in a dress or some variation thereof.
Right.
I love rocking a corset. I love it.
Can you breathe?
Well, as well as you can breathe in a corset.
I don't like it. I don't enjoy it. I don't enjoy it. My husband's bought me corsets, and I'm like, why? Like, first of all, putting them
There's
on.
a time and a place.
There's a time and a
There's a
place.
time and a
It's
place.
just like I can't breathe. All right, this is a tough one, I think, for people in relationships. How can you navigate supporting not only your partner but yourself when they come out as either bisexual or non-binary within your relationship?
Listen, I'm going to say it's the learning process for the both. So if you,
Yeah.
It is.
because that's all it is at this point. Because if you, I haven't encountered that, but it's a learning process. It's all that. So if you come with it, I'm coming with it. You know.
I think you're absolutely right.
Oh, okay.
I have been married for now I'm gonna get in trouble.
Oh, you gonna
many
get in
many years. And my husband 2 years ago came out as bi, so I've lived this. And it's been a learning process, right? It's there are nuances and pieces of dating, say, heteronormative relationships than homo relationships. And it took a lot of just really clear communication about like, okay, this is different. How is this going to work? How are we managing time? How are we managing, what about like sexual practices are different? Like sexual health is a little bit different. Like we just have to have some really clear communication about how this is going to be different.
What support, since you were on the partner of somebody who came out as bisexual, what support did you need as you were navigating this new territory?
Well, it didn't change anything for me.
Really?
My husband is my husband.
Yeah.
He is the same human. Nothing changed for me. It changed a lot for him. And so it was the support that I gave to him was just space to explore, space to ask questions, space to figure things out, time, right? I didn't put any pressure on him because he can't answer what he can't answer. It took time for him to explore and experiment. And I hate that I'm telling a little bit of his story because he's not here. But that's a lot of what it was, is just giving space and really affirming that like this is his exploration in his life and he's got to figure it out.
Baby, this is how I know you're a therapist. Because I think I would be like, whoa, what do you mean?
I had lots of questions, but I knew he didn't have the answers.
We've been married how many years? I don't know, so I don't know. And all of a sudden, you're now also... Okay.
It's 16 years, by the way. We've been together 16 years. Yeah.
Did the math to be okay. I can't believe we've been having this discussion this whole time and I still don't know. Now your sexual orientation has changed through the course of these 16 years. You didn't question it.
No. We have an open relationship, so like it didn't. We're well practiced at that. We have many years having an open relationship, so it didn't really change anything for me, right? Because I knew that we were safe. Our relationship, our marriage, was not threatened in any kind of way. It was just space for him to explore and figure out what exactly he wanted from that.
Okay, so I think that does change the perspective a little bit. You guys are in an open relationship.
Open and
so
poly.
allowing the exploration.
Yeah. So that space was already created. That's fair. Like we weren't coming from a monogamous relationship.
Yeah. Because I'm like, what? I wouldn't. No.
But I will say, it doesn't change anything. Right. Going from a closed relationship to an open relationship, or even a polyamorous relationship, it's still giving space and trusting that just because you're giving someone the space and opportunity to explore, that doesn't mean that your relationship is actually threatened in any way. You can still have a committed relationship and be non-monogamous.
Yeah. Baby.
I think that comes with a lot of questions, especially when it's a closed relationship and it's monogamous. Because when you're in an open relationship, you're pretty much open-minded based on the communication that you have with your partner. Rather than when you're in a monogamous relationship, this is what I brought to you. This is what we agreed upon initially. And at this point, I'm only thinking that you're into me and me only. So for you to say now, hey, I'm bisexual, I think there would be a lot of questioning. It would for the both of us. Yeah. It would be a lot of sitting in some couples therapy together, because I need an understanding as to if you're going to be committed to this other gender outside of me, but in a monogamous relationship, I don't think I would no longer be able to serve my purpose here, because I would only want to be committed to this specific one person.
Yeah, just because it changes for one person doesn't mean it would change for the other. Like, and that might be the reason to separate. That might be, but it might not be. If we're able to hold space and have the trust that our relationship is going to change, yes, but it doesn't mean that it's threatened. It doesn't mean it's going to end. It's just about opening it up and being able to explore some other things while we still maintain our relationship and have our needs met with each other. We can explore other things too.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to mean the separation. But for some people, it's not for all people, right?
It's not for everyone.
It's not for everyone, and that's perfectly
and
okay.
That's where
That's
the
fair.
communication,
Yeah.
trust and patience comes in.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay, we're going to be switching gears after this. 'Cause, I mean, we'd be remiss on this show. We never touch politics, but it is a reality of the LGBTQ plus community. So we're going to dive into a little bit of it after the break. You stay right there. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Nightcap. We're having a Q&A with therapists around the LGBTQ plus community. We've got Dr. Ty Lerman and Devontae, the therapist. We have to ask this question because, I mean, it's a reality today for the LGBTQ plus community, but we have a question from someone who's asking how they should navigate as a member in this community when it feels like their very rights are under attack every day.
It's not a feel like they are.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Texas legislature is coming for our rights. The federal government is coming for our rights to just simply just exist and live our lives. That's not a feeling. That's fact.
Mm-hmm.
It's valid. We're under
So
attack.
how do you therapize your clients who are living in fear, who are scared about the future, who really feel siloed from the rest of society, who isn't facing this reality? How do you?
I would say doing exactly what Ty is saying, empathizing with them and validating exactly what it is, because it's the truth. It is under attack 100%. So being able to express that to them and show them and allow them to know that, hey, it's a learning process for all of us right now. Be patient right now, and it's hard to say be understanding during this time of being under attack, but we have to be as understanding as possible right now with not knowing what's going to come next. So if that means, getting you some more self-care time or taking a trip out of the state, literally out of the state, and, getting you some, coping skills, utilizing some coping skills and getting some mindfulness techniques in place, then that's what we got to do. Because right now, we don't even have the right answers, to be honest.
And I think it's also important to make sure that I think where a lot of the fear comes from is feeling disempowered. Like there's nothing we can do to stop this. Mm-hmm. But there is actual things that we can do to stop that. The first is to get out there and vote because these are the people we put them into the office that are doing this, right? It is speaking up where you feel called to speak up, where you feel comfortable and safe enough to speak up. Mm-hmm. It's utilizing time and space like this in this moment where I can protest silently here by wearing this T-shirt, right? Mm-hmm. It is showing up in ways that using your power where you can, because that is where we feel empowered. And we will always feel a little bit safer when we feel empowered to create change, always. But our protest and our resistance is different. Everyone's there are many, many, many different ways to protest. You're not going to find me on a picket line. You're not going to find me at a big rally and a protest. That's not who I am. That's not my type of protest. I protest in very different ways. Mm-hmm. It's just about finding the ways that are right for you. And it starts with safety. Do you feel safe enough to do this? My risk tolerance is different than other people's. And so knowing where your tolerance is around that will dictate where you need to step up.
Absolutely. Speaking of protest, they added that they asked whether or not you agree that this year's Pride events feel more like Stonewall, where instead of a celebration and a party, it's more of a protest. Do you guys gather the same sentiment around the events this year?
I would say yes, based upon what has been put out. Our rights are under attack, and that has been the primary conversation that has been going around. So of course, when it comes to rallies and pride parades going on, it's it doesn't feel like a support. It feels more so of a protest or a challenge, because that's all the conversations has been surrounded by. So I would say yes.
We're going back to our roots. The first Pride parade was a riot. Mm-hmm. Well, it wasn't a parade.
It wasn't a parade.
It was a bar being raided. Stonewall was raided, and we fought back. Drag queens and people of color and people in leather fought back, right? And the next year was the very first parade in protest. And so it's taking us back. And I think it's appropriate because, once again, our rights are being stripped and we are under attack. And so it's appropriate for us to protest and resist.
It's necessary.
It's necessary.
Necessary.
All right, you stay right there. More Q&A with these therapists after the break. Welcome back to the Nightcap. This Pride Month, we decided to do a Q&A with some experts. We've got Dr. Ty Lerman and Devontae, the therapist, here. We've been answering so many questions that we've had, and I feel like we're only scratching the surface. But I wanted to ask this, since you deal with clients every day in your practice. How do you help LGBTQ plus clients unlearn that internal shame that they've received over the years, whether it be from family, religion, and culture, as they step into their truth within the community? I know that's loaded.
Yeah, very loaded, but it's fine. Starting off, honestly, I allow them to process the trauma, where it started from, starting with the root. So, hey, if it started in the household, let's see what was said. How was it processed with you? And that's utilizing cognitive behavior therapy, trauma-focused techniques. So focusing on those cognitive distortions and replacing the thought processes with that. And then allow them to spew it out, take it out. And it's not just like an overnight process. This is in time. And sometimes this time is years. And allowing them to say certain things that builds their confidence and take it in. So they spewing out the trauma, taking in the confidence, taking in the positive affirmations, and being able to let them know that, hey, it's okay if you have to relive certain moments or if you re-experience certain traumas. Just bring it to the session and let's process it together.
It's so hard. Because you started listing the many ways that we are shamed, right? We starting with our parents, our family of origin, our religion of origin, our media in general, our churches. You know, there are so many different ways that we get inundated with shame around our sexuality and sexual orientation, and this compulsory heteronormative sort of thing where we're not taught that there are other ways to live our lives. And we just, with the assumption that this is the way you're going to live your life. And so it already starts from the get, we are feeling othered because we know we don't fit in that pretty little box. Right. And if we're not in the box, then we are othered and therefore shamed. Right. And there is something wrong with us in some way. And so which is traumatic. It is absolutely traumatic. And feeling othered, especially when we feel alone, it's one of the major precursors to suicidality, right? Is when we feel isolated and we feel like they will never change. But the truth is it will, and we are not alone. There are many, many people out there that are also othered in the exact same way you are. It's just a matter of finding your community and connecting.
Yeah. This hits really close to home because a dear friend of mine, in their late 20s, became acquainted, and he was navigating coming out. Raised very, very religious. Gay was not okay. Explored straight relationships and really did not accept himself. Was coming out, but would hate himself for it. And it took a lot of my pouring into him and speaking to him when he was in his darkest suicidal thoughts, moments to help as much as I could. Was too scared to go to therapy. Now he's in a very beautiful place, married, to the man of his dreams, his family, because he was a pastor's kid. Family has also changed, is now more inclusive. It's a beautiful story, but that dark time, it was scary. I didn't know what to do. It was my first time navigating this with someone, but to see the self-hatred because of their upbringing, I can't imagine how many people go through that daily and don't have the support system, don't have the ability to go to therapy. How can people support those who are trying to find themselves within the LGBTQ plus community when there is so much hatred around?
I think one, I want to backtrack just slightly to what you said, because I think there's a myth in there that you said of just not being able to afford therapy. There are many resources out there of affordable therapy. Really, there are tons of nonprofits in Houston alone. I can think of half a dozen places. Places like the Montrose Center is the #1 place I would refer people to, which is a LGBT specific social services agency. And there are grants for anyone who is low income. You can get therapy as low as $15. Like, it is affordable. There are other nonprofits like Legacy Community Health, Jewish Family Services. You do not need to be Jewish to go to Jewish Family Services. Houston Galveston Institute. Like, there are tons of places and resources where you can plug into that you can get therapy at very affordable rates.
We are going to post that on our website, and
Okay.
we will link it on our social media. So if you want it, please tune in, and we'll have that up there. Thank you, Ty.
You're welcome. To the other question, it's about finding your people. Really, it's about not feeling like you're isolated. And so whether that's on a personal level of just finding one other gay person, or even an affirming person, there was a GLAAD study that put out there, just one affirming person reduces suicidality in teens by 40%.
Wow.
One affirming adult in your life reduces suicidality by 40%. It's insane what just having one safe place where I can go and be my true authentic self and not worry about shame and blame and craziness. I can just show up and be me and be affirmed in that way, reduces our ability. We're able to connect and be ourselves. So finding your people in a safe place is so important. And then there's tons of places like the Montrose Center. There's Grace Place for homeless LGBT youth. There's Tony's Place, which does very similar sort of things. There's lots of resources out there for people to plug into. But I think the #1 thing is finding your tribe, feeling like you have a place where you belong.
Okay, then.
And I would also like to add, when it comes to finding your people, I feel like that's very important. But also knowing that, allowing them to understand that sometimes it will be challenging, because I never disclose that, hey, it gets easy and it stays easy. It does get easier. However, you will continue to have challenges, and knowing that you have a safety net, knowing that you have a support network is very important. And sometimes, even if you have someone who doesn't even fully understand what you're disclosing, but having someone present can be so helpful.
Mm-hmm.
It's important. All right, you stay right there. More of the Nightcap after the break. Welcome back to the Nightcap. This is the end of 2 wonderful nights with Dr. Ty Lerman and Devontae, the therapist. Thank you so much for taking on all of these questions and really educating us and giving us the knowledge we need to navigate the LGBTQ plus community and be allies and support those that we may know within it. You have provided a bunch of information, and I know at home it's probably a lot that you took in, so don't worry. We're putting it up on our website, and we will have it on social media tonight, so you can click on it and go to the resources that you can access, especially affordable therapy, which I didn't know. But you guys also have your own practices, so please plug away, because people at home are probably like, oh my God, that person is for me. Dr. Ty, let me start with you.
Yeah, my group practice is called Southwest Psychotherapy Associates. The website is swpsychotherapy.com. Again, we have 5 therapists that are competent to work with our community, and is a really safe place where we can help people out. And I will also say, if I'm not the right person for you, but you're part of the community, I am crazy passionate about helping connect you with competent and affordable care. So even if I'm not the right person, I will help connect you. So don't hesitate to reach out at all.
And this word we learned yesterday, competent. We don't need affirming therapists. We need competent therapists.
They need to be affirming, but also competent.
Yes, both, not just affirming.
Yes.
Devontae.
I'm Devontae. I am the licensed therapist. I own the practice Path of Progression Mental and Behavior Services in the Manchester building off of Harwin Drive. I do also offer telehealth and in person. If I'm not the right therapist for you, I do have other contractors under me that can provide you with competent care and therapeutic services. So don't hesitate to reach out. And even if you feel like one of the contractors are not compatible for you, I do contract with multiple nonprofit organizations. So, hey, whatever you need, I'm willing to help.
That's awesome. Thank you both for coming on and answering all these questions. And happy Pride,
Happy
yeah?
Pride.
Happy Pride.
All right, cheers to y'all. We'll see you guys next time.